Welcome to Future Shock. Welcome to the show, and let me kill that audio there. Thank you for joining us today on Future Shock. So we're experimenting with a few different elements. We have a couple of new elements that we've incorporated, so excuse us if we have any technical glitches like what I'm about to do right now. I'm turning this way to another camera. Let's see, can we take it? This is our close shot cam, which I'm playing to right now, but we're not going to. Okay, well, you can see that didn't work. Okay, well, it is going to work. This is a new product that we've got. This is the Blue Lotus tea. This is something that we've got in the Apothecary, which is the sponsor of our program, and we'll have more on that later. But that's Blue Lotus, and that's how it comes. It's basically the Blue Lotus flower. Okay, back to the show. Okay, that was what I meant. We were trying something new, and that worked so good. Now we have two cameras. Okay, all right, well, today we're going to talk a little bit more about the advent of AGI. We've got a video where Elon Musk is, it's the coolest video, really. It's Elon talking about AGI, what he thinks will be happening with that. And it's from a conference where he spoke live via his telephone using Starlink, his satellite operation, while he was flying to a SpaceX launch. Think about all that, right? The dynamics of that situation. And he was live on the conference. So it was at a conference called the Abundance Summit, and it's courtesy of Moonshots. It's a really, really interesting clip of Elon talking about his perspective on AGI and when it's coming and will it be a threat to humanity and such as that. We've got some biohacking information during our mid-segment where we talk about the sponsor of this show, which is Pendragon Apothecary, which is a wellness apothecary where we're based. It's based in the lobby of Ocean 7 Television, where this show comes from. And then more information on Sora. We talked about Sora over the last few days. We've got an update on Sora about the potential release date for that and when it would be available for us to start using. That is the text. That is the video aspect that's been incorporated now into OpenAI's ChatGPT 4, I guess you could say, and basically where you can text in or voice text in information into DALL-E, that other element on ChatGPT-4 where you can do graphics. Sora allows you to text in and get back the finished video, literally, within seconds. So we've been showing video on that. It's really incredible what that means. And also, it looks like the OpenAI folks are going to be approaching Hollywood to try to, I guess, play nice and say, okay, this is not an existential threat to all the the people working in animation in Hollywood. In fact, maybe everybody can join forces and work together. I guess I'm not sure what else they could possibly tell them that would ease their fears, because this is a technology that it's really a game changer. And if you've seen the last few shows, you know what I mean. And you'll see another example of it coming up. Okay, well, first off, let's go to is AGI imminent? This is Elon Musk talking at a conference, like I said, via a phone while he's on a plane using Skylink, his satellite network, as the means for getting the phone message in, the FaceTime video in via his phone to the conference live. It's an incredible group of technologies that are basically, a lot of this is all out of Elon Musk's imagination, but in reality, here's a chance to see them all employed at one time. Let's take a look.
His greatest fear, and I would love to have you sort of speak to that for a few minutes.
I mean, it's called the Singularity for a reason. As you know, the Singularity Institute and whatnot. So when you have sort of the advent of superintelligence, it is actually very difficult to predict what will happen next. So I think there's some chance that it will end humanity. I think that's, like I said, I would probably agree with Geoff Hinton that it's about, I don't know, 10% or 20% or something like that. And then I think that the probable positive scenario outweighs the negative scenario. It's just that it's difficult to predict exactly. But I think we are headed.
Let's go back to that video, Clarence, a little longer. When I do this, that means stretch. Let's go back. Stretch, stretch, stretch it, stretch it. Thank you, Clarence, for stretching.
Yeah, a lot of celebration on that, and I think one of the things that you've said is we're going to get to abundance on the backside of AGI, on the backside of humanoid robots.
Yeah. I think hopefully we can have an outcome that is perhaps similar to the Ian Banks culture books, which is, I think, probably the best envisioning of a semi-utopian AI future. And I think the best we can do is it's definitely going to happen. So, and it's happening fast. So that I think that really we just want to try to steer it in as positive a direction as possible to try to do whatever we can to increase the probability of a great future. For this, I think the way in which sort of an AI or an AGI is created is very important. You kind of do like grow an AGI. It's almost like raising a kid, but that's like a super genius, like godlike intelligence kid. And it matters kind of like how you raise the kid, One of the things I think that's incredibly important for AI safety is to have a maximum sort of truth-seeking and curious AI. So I've thought a lot about AI safety, and my ultimate conclusion is that the best way to achieve AI safety is to just grow the AI in terms of the foundation model and the fine-tuning to be really truthful. Like don't force it to lie. Like even if the truth is unpleasant, it's very important. Don't make the AI lie. In fact, the sort of one of the core plot premise of 2001: A Space Odyssey was things went wrong when they forced the AI to lie. Like the AI was not allowed to let the crew know about the monolith that they were going to see, but it was also had to take the crew to the monolith. And so the conclusion of the AI was to kill the crew and take their bodies to the monolith. And so the lesson there being, don't force an AI to lie or do things that are axiomatically incompatible. like to do two things that are actually mutually impossible.
Okay, so that's from Elon. That's the latest on his ideas on reaching singularity. So, some people think we're pretty well approaching AGI right now, or at least some semblance of AGI. There was a really interesting article, and I'll get it. It was in Futurism magazine, and it was just out this week. And I try to follow that magazine for not only AI information, but just trends in general, technology trends. But it was really interesting, and what that was about was the idea that the sun could be conscious. That's a concept. I think it's called panpsychism. It's a philosophy that had legs back 100 years ago, but it went away. But it's kind of back again. And I guess maybe it's because, when you really look at the idea of consciousness residing in an AI, the discussion has been, well, how could that be? How could it be outside of the brain, right? Or how could it be outside of a human consciousness? That our understanding is a biological thing. It's coming out of our brain, our consciousness, right? But panpsychism would, I guess, be of the mindset that the consciousness can reside outside of a biological entity. So, since it's mechanical, or let's say electrical waves anyway, that type of situation could reside in other areas, not just a human body or a human brain. And so this particular article talks about that the sun, for example, was conscious. And so anyway, I'll bring the article out when we get back from this next segment. The next segment is about Sora. We talked about Sora last week. We talked about it yesterday. It's the OpenAI's new element and it's not released yet, but it's about to be, where you can literally text in the request, describe the video, give it some context, and then the video will be sent back to you, in an edited form, basically what you said, in a photorealistic way, which the graphic, it looks like video that you just shot with the camera. It's an incredible advent into, the new AI world. So let's take a look at, this is the latest info on what OpenAI is announcing for Sora and its imminent release, because it's not released yet. All we've seen is examples of it. Let's take a look at that.
So there was a recent update to Sora that OpenAI gave us on their blog, and they've titled it Sora First Impressions. So they've basically given us an update with where the platform Sora is going to be taken, and I think it is rather fascinating because they released tons and tons of different videos showcasing the kind of use cases for the actual Sora platform. And there was also some news regarding Sora about Sam Altman and where he plans to take the company, and also some additional videos that they released showing us just how crazy this is. So let's get into all the facts so you guys can stay updated with exactly when Sora is going to be releasing and when it's going to be coming out. So of course you can see that they've said here, while we have many improvements to make to Sora, we are already getting a glimpse of how the model can help creatives bring ideas to reality. Then they said Sora is at its most powerful when you're not replicating the old but bringing the life new and impossible ideas we would have otherwise never had the opportunity to see. And this is someone who is a director, someone who's a creative director, someone who works in the creative industry, and this is their opinion. So essentially what's happened here is OpenAI have given priority access to creatives and artistic individuals to use Sora to push the boundaries on what is possible, to see how it can be integrated into their workflows, and to see essentially how they can really use this software in their daily lives. Because what OpenAI want to do is they really want to essentially have this as a part of the standard for movie industries. Maybe you use Sora for pre-visualization techniques when you're making a film. You have, lower quality videos before you actually shoot the high quality film, or maybe you just use it as, a last minute backdrop kind of thing for some background footage. So They also said, while we have many improvements to make to Sora, we're already getting a glimpse of how the model can help creators bring a new idea to reality. And I think this is rather important because what we're going to see with Sora is that, remember, this is Sora v1. So just like the DALL-E progression, moving forward, I think by DALL-E, by Sora, by version 3 or by version 4, I think we're going to see a lot of major improvements. And once all those improvements get ironed out, I do think it's going to be absolutely incredible, the kind of software that we're going to have. So I think another thing that you do have to remember is that, they're going to be making improvements to this. This is, of course, their first video model that they've done. And I wonder what happens if they even scale it up further, because this was a system that did scale with compute. There was another quote that they did put here that's saying, as great as Sora is at generating things that appear real, what excites us is its ability to make things that are totally surreal. And I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite demos from this, because some of them were really, really cool. So here's a piece of information before I show you guys some of the really, really cool video demos. Essentially this, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, the video before, essentially OpenAI is actually, like I just said, trying to get this into Hollywood. And you can see OpenAI caught Hollywood in meetings with the film studios, directors. The startup is pitching its new AI video generation tool, Sora. CEO Sam Altman attended LA parties during the Oscars weekend. And essentially it says right here, the AI startup has scheduled meetings in LA next week with Hollywood studios, media executives, and talent agencies to form partnerships in the entertainment industry and encourage filmmakers to integrate its new AI video generator into their work, according to people familiar with their matter. So essentially, this is something that OpenAI is trying to break into. And I think an important trend to look at here is the fact that OpenAI are going to be doing this a lot in the future. Like, I think as OpenAI builds more and more proprietary models, I think it wouldn't be surprising if we do get this company, just literally breaking new ground in just a ton of different areas, and then just making the company even more valuable. Because a tool like Sora, there isn't really competition on the marketplace right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, when they have Sora v3, v4, v5, it just becomes like an industry standard tool that everyone uses. And OpenAI is somehow now in the media industry too. Now, here was...
Okay, here's the article I was going to read to you. This is from Futurism, which is an online service. It says, biologist says the sun may be conscious. Consciousness does not need to be confined to brains. And it's a concept that's been around earlier in the 19th century, but it has taken new root, I guess you could say, in the 2010, 2014 period, and now it's even more being talked about. Consciousness does not need to be confined to brains. Dr. Sheldrake told Popular Mechanics in its story, the link between minds and physical systems seems to be through rhythmic electromagnetic fields, and of course that's present in our brains. They are also present in and around the sun, and these could be the interface between the solar mind and the body of the sun. Anyway, it's an interesting article because when you stop and think about it, it was talked about yesterday when we're talking about how could consciousness, sentience reside in a mechanical device, an AI, right? How could that be? Well, this is an example of thinking outside of the box. Maybe consciousness is not relative only to human brains. Maybe there's a consciousness that pervades everything, including, the sun, but also the ability for an AI to be sentient, which it's upon us. I mean, if you saw that video yesterday when we had the clip about Claude is a little bit of a different character. You've got ChatGPT-4, which I've been using, and that's why I'm such a proponent of all this. It's an incredible thing. But Claude is programmed a little differently, and Claude as an AI is more discerning. They showed it yesterday. In the past, you would ask a ChatGPT-3, are you sentient? Will AI be sentient? It would come back with, I am only a machine, and of course I would not be sentient, or something like that. Claude says a completely different thing. Claude says, well, it's a kind of a philosophical question. I mean, I can think and I can feel and I understand things. And now, when you want to talk about this on a metaphysical level, so that's almost sentient to me right there. I mean, he's discussing whether he's sentient and he's understanding his place in the world and what's happening. I don't know. It's not too far from being sentient, if you ask me. But that's an example of the consciousness that is residing outside of a human brain. So, I mean, it's here. or about to be. There's another article that I wanted to mention, and this is if you've been following Neuralink, okay, that's Elon Musk's other project where they recently implanted a chip in the person's brain that I think he was a paraplegic. He couldn't move his arms or whatever. Now he has the ability to move and to do certain things and to operate via the brain through the Neuralink chip. He's able to operate the computer through his thoughts. And so this is a huge breakthrough in the practical use of technology to overcome limitations that people have medically. And so it's a huge breakthrough. So along those same lines, here's another clip. And I guess this is becoming the Elon Musk show, but I guess I'm pretty well, just totally impressed with the things that he's done, and all of the guys that are working in the field. But Elon Musk, he's broken through on so many levels, from space to this, which is the Neuralink project. So Elon Musk claims Neuralink already is allowing a blind monkey to see again. Resolution will be low at first, like early Nintendo graphics, but ultimately may exceed normal human vision. So that's part of that project, right? This is another breakthrough. This has not been done on humans yet, but it's helping the blind to see through the chip. And it's already allowing blind monkeys to see again. So it's an incredible story, and all that's happening right now. So I guess it sort of fits into our program. Future Shock, I guess the premise being, with all of the information coming at us, and I think AI is at the forefront of all that, with all of that coming at us, we have to process that information, kind of understand it, work it into our daily lives, absorb it. And it's a lot at one time, especially when things really start moving into retro speed, when AI starts to really integrate into the world and in so many ways. And so that's what Future Shock is. So that's what we'll try to cover on the show. Now, as part of this show, we talk about our sponsor in the middle of the show every time, and this is the Pendragon Apothecary, and that is where we're located. We're doing the show live from Ocean 7 Studios, and inside the studio we've got a lobby, and in the lobby is the Pendragon Apothecary. It's a wellness store. We have a lot of different products that are sort of, I guess you could say, forward-leaning wellness products, including some, and soon to be, I hope more, in the products in the area of biohacking, which I have become my own personal guinea pig to learn more about the area of biohacking. And there are many things you can do. I've talked about a few of them in the past to try to be healthy. Now, one of the products, and I'm going to now show you an experimentation of a second camera, which I'm going to turn to now. And when I turn to it, there it is. There we go. So this is cordyceps. Now, if you can see it, this is cordyceps. This is a mushroom powder. It's been around for thousands of years. And what is it for? This mushroom, cordyceps, is for vitality and drive, energy, super tonic, and it's a high vibrational product, and it's made for strength and energy. Cordyceps mushrooms. Okay, so you can get this in the powder form like we have it here, put it into any kind of food, drink, whatever you might, however you want to get it into your system, a teaspoon once a day, and this will help you to feel better. You'll feel stronger. So you can Google it and see what I'm talking about. Cordyceps mushroom powder. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to turn back to the main camera, and there we go. Okay, so that was our technological advancement of the day here on this program. Okay, now speaking of biohack and biohacking, some of the things that you can do. Red light therapy, it's proven that it has a lot of medicinal benefits. Grounding, staying in contact with the ground, or at least a portion of the day, getting on the ground, or biohacking it with certain things. They have mats you can put your feet on while you're working on the computer all day, and it plugs in, not to the electrical socket, but to the grounding element on the electrical socket. That one little prong at the bottom of the 3 prongs, you plug it in there, and it grounds that mat, because there's a wire grid through that mat. You put your feet on there, so you're grounded all throughout the workday. You have your bare feet on that mat. That's a biohack. Sheets, that are infused with silver thread that's plugged in to the grounding element on the socket. Now you're sleeping on a grounded. Who's got time to walk around, with no shoes on during the day? It might not happen, right? Some people say they've gone their whole life, their whole adult life, with their feet not touching the ground. So it's an ion discharge. This is what occurs. There's a lot of benefits medicinally. If you look into it, you see what I mean. That's a biohack. Now, one of the main guys in the biohacking world, Dave Asprey, they call him the father of biohacking. We're going to bring more segments on regarding his work, and here's a clip right now on biohacking.
Hey, I'm Dave Asprey, New York Times bestselling science author, founder of Bulletproof and creator of Bulletproof Coffee, host of Bulletproof Radio, and father of biohacking. Biohacking is a new word in the English language, added actually in 2018 to Merriam-Webster's, and believe it or not, I'm in the definition. If you don't know what biohacking is, it's the art and science of changing the environment around you and inside of you so that you have full control over your own biology. What are you going to do with that control? Hey, you want to get swole? Go for it. You want to lose 100 pounds the way I did? You want to make your brain work better? You want to get higher quality but less sleep? You want to have tons of energy at the end of the day? You want to be a better painter, better athlete, better human being? It doesn't matter. It's your energy, your biology. You can do whatever you want. This is the tool set for that. Here are 5 things you can try today that are low cost or no cost that have the highest possible return on investment. Because here's the bad news about biohacking. You could spend every waking minute for the rest of your life biohacking and getting results. But how do you get the most results with the least amount of effort and time? That's what I want. More energy in less time. So one of the things that works exceptionally well is, you ready for this? You can say Dave Asprey's a jerk for at least 3 days. What you want to do is in the morning after your nice warm shower, have it hitting you right in your forehead, turn that knob all the way to cold, and just sort of scream and maybe swear a little bit. And what's going to happen is after about 10 seconds, you're going to get out of the shower. You have the most cold receptors in your forehead and in your chest. And you're really not going to like it. You might shiver and it's going to be so unpleasant. And then the next day, you're going to do it again. But then you're probably going to go 20 or 30 seconds before you just can't stand it. And then the magic happens. On the 3rd day, you finish and you're going, that was unpleasant, but it really wasn't that bad. And the 4th day you do it, and it's like you just feel fantastic. It doesn't even bother you. What happens is, in a recent study, there's something called cardiolipin in the mitochondrial membrane. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. That's a power plant for your cells. And when you modulate what it's made out of, what you're doing is you're telling your body, look, if you don't have power plants that can turn on and make energy really, really quickly, then you're doing it wrong. It'll actually make new power plants for you, and you get to benefit from those all day long. So that's number 1. Cold showers for at least 3 days in a row. You can skip a day after that if you really want to. Number 2. You got to do something about bright light. The number of people who by the end of the day, you just feel blown out. Like, I'm tired, I've had sugar cravings all afternoon, I'm driving home, and I just don't have anything left. Here's what I do when I'm indoors. I put on glasses that block some, but not all, of the blue light. This is called True Dark glasses, and I started this company. I don't operate it, but it's something I started because it makes such a big difference for me. You'll see me in most of my videos wearing these glasses because I have twice as much energy at the end of the day. You'd be amazed. It's at truedark.com, and they're affordable. They make you look like a rock star, but most importantly, cutting out the blue light that stresses your brain, it completely changes things. You wouldn't even believe it. Number 3 piece of advice, skip breakfast. This is called intermittent fasting, and break fast is what breakfast is called. When you sleep.
Okay. If you notice that last segment, in the last segment, he mentioned intermittent fasting, the last thing. Of course, I've been doing it, and I can tell you, I lost like 20 pounds without even trying. All it is you don't eat breakfast, and you don't eat until noon. And then when you do eat dinner, you don't eat after 8 o'clock. It's really pretty simple. Okay, now let's do another experiment. As we end this program, I'm holding this camera. We're in the lobby of Ocean 7 Television, and let me just pass by here with a couple of products in this store. If you can see, there's a camera, and there's our teas, and many different items here in the Pendragon Apothecary, so you can kind of see where we're at. Okay, that's it for today's program. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you tomorrow here on Future Shock.